Using the work study management tool and reducing budgets within that tool first starts by having either shifts in the calendar or time clock data. In this example, we're going to show you how to use the budget system with scheduled shifts. Just know that using time clock data is just as easy, and I'll touch upon that when we try to do a deduction. So I have some shifts here in my calendar. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to the work study management tool, which is located here in the navigation under budgets, work study. You may have other items there as well, but just know the work study tool is this one that we're describing here. So I'm going to first create a work study program. This can be anything associated to work study. So, spring semester is a good one. Or if you do annual, it can be anything that you want for any date range you want. In this case, we're just going to do deductions for a single month. And I'm going to select the positions that I'm going to want to process for deductions. So I'm just going to do lifeguard supervisors and lifeguards. Whoops. Lifeguard supervisors. And then I'm just going to put in here as a note just aquatic staff. Once I create this, the system lets me know, and now I can start adding staff to the program. So I'm going to add a couple of staff that have the same budget, let's say $5,000, and I'm going to say Bob Cody as well as Ricky Bobby. I'm going to add them. And then let's say that I have another staff member that maybe has a slightly different budget. So I've gone ahead and added those staff. Now, because we have schedules in the system or time clock data, we can now process deductions for these positions. So I'm going to simply click process deductions. It's going to ask me what the time frame is. Now this could be 1 day, 1 week, a month, a semester, whatever you want. I'm going to select use scheduled data. Again, if I had time clock data, I would just simply select use time clock data. It's that easy. And I'm going to hit continue. The system will then capture all of the shifts that pertain to this time frame and allow me to process them for deductions. Now, one important thing to note is if I had adjustments within the shift templates for flat rates or percentages or anything like that for offsetting the hourly wage, that would all be indicated here. If you need more information on how to use the rate adjustment tool within the shift template area, please contact support and they'll be able to help you out with that. But this takes into consideration all of those settings. So once I process a deduction, I'll have a green check mark for all the successful ones. If there were any unsuccessful, I would see a red X. I could hover over that and it would tell me what's happening. I can export this data in CSV format right to my desktop to store locally if I needed to. I'll hit close here. Now, let's say that hypothetically Bob Cody, I made a mistake when I first set him up, and he wasn't actually set up for a $5,000 budget, but actually a $4,000 budget. Now, even with deductions made on his account, I can still adjust it, and I can say, let's say 4,000. So I'll hit save, and now that deduction or that reduction in the initial amount has happened, and it maintained all the deductions for me. Let's take a look at what happens to the calendar when deductions are made. So the calendar you will now see a lock symbol. The lock symbol represents that data tied to this shift requires it to be locked, because if you made adjustments to it, it would negatively impact the calculations that have previously been done. I can go ahead, I can edit this shift, and it will tell me exactly what's going on here. Now, if I needed to unlock this shift for whatever reason to be able to make adjustments to then reprocess a deduction, I can do that. All I have to do is click here on View Deductions. It will then load in a new tab and will bring me right to the deduction history screen. It will tell me what date range that this pertains to, and I can simply click Continue. Once I do that, I now need to roll back all the deductions that occurred during that time frame that I processed. So I'm going to click Roll Back Deductions. It says, am I sure? I say yes. I can then roll back the deductions. It says that everything was successful, and I'll notice that in the history, those are now gone. And now in rollback history, I can see some entries, and if I hit View, it will show me what actually transpired on a line-by-line basis, how the system handled each request. So if you need that level of granularity, you can also export this data as well for your own records. So now what I can do is I can head back over to the calendar. I can simply close this. I'll load positions again. And now I will see that there are no more locks. I can then make an adjustment to this shift. Let's just say that this was changed by an hour. And I can hit save. And now I can head back over to the budget management tool. I can process a deduction. I can put in that date range. And I can say use time clock data, and I can click continue. It will then select those shifts, and you'll notice that this shift was modified to 7, and all the adjustments are accurate. So now I simply process the deductions. Again, I can export it. I'll hit close, and then it did the computation for me. Now, the other thing that you'll notice that if I need to roll back a deduction, the budgets are then rolled back to their original status. So I can also add back in any rollbacks that transpired. So if I did make an adjustment to the calendar during that time frame and I saw that this time frame was already rolled back, I could then add additional shifts to the calendar related to those people or make adjustments as I see fit. And what would happen is when I went to roll back or reprocess the rolled back adjustment, it will know that that occurred, those additional adjustments, and will allow me to reprocess. That's essentially this tool and how it works. We hope that you like it. If you have any questions, please contact us at support@subbitup.com. Thank you so much.